So I was browsing Facebook last week, and I randomly, just when I popped on there, you know how they never show you anybody that you follow or anything like that. I don't actually follow Method Man on Facebook, but a post popped up in regards to him and his take on remixes. And it was a very interesting take because it was very triggering to me because I don't agree with it at all. But I'll go ahead and just kind of share it now. So he goes, I don't know why this is a thing, but I hate the fact that people do these unauthorized remakes of records with fake collabs. This guy I asked a long time ago to take this trash down as it takes away views from the original content, and he still has yet to do so. Over 200 million views and not one penny to the creators. No one takes into account the time and effort it takes to even make these records, let alone these records put out into the public for someone to come and do half the work and get twice, if not quadruple, the views of the original content. Whatever happened to IP rights? Now, granted, I will pause real quick to say that he is referencing somebody who took 4 different verses from random songs and spliced them together to make their own song, but then also called it the same song as Method Man's original song. So I understand that aspect, but let me keep going here. So whenever I sample a record, I have to inform the original creators and ask for permission to do so. What makes YouTube any different? I am pretty sure you guys have seen a lot of these fake remixes, but a lot of people don't know they're fake. I've heard my voice on beats I would never rhyme to, and a lot of times the verses are off beat. This is what we call hack shit, and I don't respect it. The main culprits are South Central Channel, Golden Age of Hip Hop, and New York's Finest, to name a few. And the person responsible for this piece of work is DJ 𝗘𝗘𝗧𝗦. I love that. I actually reached out to make things right. My reply was to take the. He actually reached out to make things right. My reply was to take the video down. As you can see, the video was never taken down. He showed a picture of it. He informed me that he makes no money from the video. My reply is, then you should have no problem taking it down. But I guess it looks like he does. So I'll just leave this up here and let the fans be the judge. Am I wrong for standing up, or should I just sit down and shut the up?
That's a weighted question.
Isn't it? Because I personally kind of think he should sit down and shut the up.
Really?
All right, so
to an extent, like
yeah.
to a very extent, for what he's describing, for what this person's doing, I understand what he's saying. But once he starts to dip into having issues with people remixing stuff and stuff being not official, that's what I have a problem with.
Yeah, like the Scandalous, whatever his name is, pointed out he's not making any financial gain off of this, but he is in a sense
social
because
currency.
Exactly, he's social currency essentially, and he also has his production or whatever behind this remix of short.
Doesn't this have
but the thing about
views?
it is with Meth, I understand where he's coming from, because he's saying he's using his intellectual property in a way that he doesn't like.
Yes.
He's saying
or just didn't approve of.
I would never I would never rap over anything like this. This is an unofficial remix. But you guys as producers will take the acapella of songs and put your own spin on it. You're not making anything monetarily on it necessarily, but it is showing your particular style, and you putting your sauce on it essentially.
Right.
And I don't see anything wrong with that. But as an artist, I can kind of see where he's coming from if it's something that he doesn't necessarily believe in.
I think what he's describing, I understand where he's coming from with the mashup, grabbing random verses, putting a beat under it, and then splicing video together to go with it to make it fake act like it goes together.
Yes.
I understand that.
Yeah.
That's some shit if we being honest.
And
I understand
And
that.
as I look at this, like the description that the screenshot that he has right here, it says Method Man, Tupac, Ice Cube, Freddie Gibbs built for this HD music video. If you go to that link right now, and I can actually probably pull it. Well, I will in a second, or maybe I'll just throw it on the screen. If you go there now, it actually says DJ 𝗘𝗘𝗧𝗦 remix. It didn't say that before. Before it was like playing like it was like the original, and this is where it came from.
A lot of people,
that is scandalous. That is I'm not misleading. It's very misleading to try to play the algorithm in that aspect. So I can agree with them to a degree for that.
Yeah, that's the thing about this stuff is, and we're figuring that out too. We've been trying to figure it out. I feel like as long as it's not something that's being shared from this artist, whoever this artist is affiliated with, the one that's watching it or consuming it should automatically know that this is an official thing.
You would think.
Right.
Yeah, you would think. Like when I watched this, I listened to it, I was like, okay, Ice Cube's verse is obviously something from the 90s.
Yeah.
Freddie Gibbs is a chorus from some random thing. Method Man's verse sounds good on it. Eazy-E's part sounds weird. Like, it doesn't even sound good. Like,
I mean, think about that.
It
though.
wasn't
Look
even
at
like
these
put
artists.
together very good.
These
So
artists all together on one track.
Yep.
I mean, it's an easy Google
Tupac's
search.
on it too. Yeah.
There's an easy Google search behind that can tell whether this is
that further makes this more corny. In my opinion, it makes it more corny.
I honestly, part of it is kind of like it's somebody taking something and they're just kind of trying to make something cool off of it too. Like, and they blew up. Like, this was an avenue that obviously Method Man doesn't know anything. Like, he doesn't obviously knows nothing about the YouTube space. Like, if you're like, this video so happened as of this has 266 million views.
I thought I saw that.
Which is crazy. And
that is crazy.
Which at the same time, I'm like, good, because, you know, it's hard out here for creators and remixers and stuff. I know, because I am one, and producers. So it's like, part of me is like, all right, good. But then I listened to it and I was like, this is kind of ass. Like, just the way,
he's
it
just
sounds.
getting views on there based off the artists that he has all featured on there.
Yeah.
And again, he's not making any money off of it because at 200 million views, he'd be super paid off of that.
Here's why he's probably not making any money off of it is because of each one of these verses. And if you don't know this, Meth, that, you know, if you happen to watch this, it's like, because he also made the comment that he's never been paid for streaming, which I don't fully understand that. I don't know if you guys remember that comment.
No, I saw that.
Honestly, I've never gotten a streaming check.
If Method Man's song, which I believe the original song built for this was off the Iron Fist soundtrack or something, it was like the RZA thing, I don't know. Mm-hmm. If that release was put out properly, then there will be content ID attached to that. And when Method Man's verse goes out anywhere on YouTube, it's going to automatically pay Method Man for that.
Yeah.
So it's just what it is. And there's like 7 verses on here. So I'm sure one of them is probably pulling money. It might not even be him making it. It might even be like the estate of Eazy-E maybe making all the money off of this, right? Hey. So this is just, to me, this is one of the ways that producers can try to market themselves. And I think it's obvious. I think there's ways to do this in an appropriate manner to where you're not being shady about it. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's like we always talk about with remixes. One, make sure it's lined up properly, and it's done correctly. First and foremost, we've gone over that for years. Everything has to obviously be lined up and make sense. 2 is also in the titling. How you title blah 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 Lonegevity remix or Lonegevity and blah 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 remix. It's all about the titling, so you get proper.
Y'all do that.
We do this responsibly whenever we put something out. So it's not to be sneaky. It's not an illusion or to try to make somebody think something is something else. It's just me with a fire beat that I thought that worked over this acapella. I hope y'all like it. I'm nice. That's what it is.
I see where, you know, especially the 2 producers in the room are coming from. But I think
I haven't even spoken my piece yet, just for the record.
Oh,
but you can go ahead.
My bad.
No, you're good.
Because I've you know, the algorithm has brought these videos up, and I'm like, oh, okay, and like I'm not paying, because sometimes stuff, you know, is the Wild Wild West as far as like looking for certain content out here. Still, very unfortunately, like, because, you know, I'll look for a certain video from somebody and I can only find it on Uprocks, and I don't know why it's not on, you know, for whatever reason, the rest of this person's videos are on their page or Vivo or whatever, but then Uprocks has, you know, Lady of Rage, you know, Afro Puffs. Weird. But that's another conversation, I guess. But I'll see this, and not only do they have a remix, it'd be one thing if, you know, you just said, hey, remix by, you know, DJ Scandalous, but they're actually going in and taking, you know, it's trying to sync up video from other videos or things and putting in B-roll, you know, and making it seem like they're getting in and out of cars.
That's doing too much, man.
You know, and so
I don't think so. I think that's a great way to be creative.
I think in a way it's very creative, but at the same time, I'm looking at it and I'm like, once you crack 100 million with somebody else's face and voice, you know, whether or not you're getting paid, not even 100 million, once you get to 10 million, 5 million, you know,
even just one.
Yeah. You know, because it's not so much that they're trying to clamp down on the creative process, but there's somebody who typed in Method Man and this came up.
True.
As opposed to, you know, they're looking for, you know, to see me and you know, so I can get my, you know, half of a cent, you know, and maybe cumulatively that'll add up to something. But then I'm seeing those. Method Man could look at it like this. There are 260 million people who were looking for my face and my voice, and somebody else gave it to them, and I saw nothing. So
Right. Yeah.
I can understand why this would be frustrating. You know, I shout out to the creators. I think it's a very creative thing that they do, because some of them are very good at putting these videos together where I'm like, oh, there's a new 𝗘𝗘𝗥𝗧𝗏 video, which, you know, it doesn't even look janky. Like, everything is very crispy. And, you know, I can tell just because of, you know, the little bit of video editing that I've done where I'm like, okay, that's not synced up correctly. But, you know, sometimes I see official videos that aren't synced up correctly, you know, because there's a lot of amateur video makers out here who aren't doing what they're supposed to do. And so when you're seeing all this stuff in one place, and I very much, like I said, it's hard because I'm on the creative sides, but at the same time, it's in a way when I saw my face and voice on Netflix and then nobody hollered me about it, you know?
Yeah, but you know, okay, so here's where I'll draw the line, right?
Okay.
I feel like what this person did and what this person had tried to do was he legitimately went out and tried to. You can't call a mashup of something you do the same as another artist's name.
There we go.
That's the problem here, right?
There we go.
So the very first name on this is Method Man, and the song is built for this or whatever. And there's already a song out there that says that, right? And then you go to it and you say, oh, well, there's 𝗘𝗘𝗥 and there's all these other people's name on it too. So let me click and check it, right? I feel like what he did was maybe uncouth at worst. But at the end of the day, there's probably a bazillion other ones that went out the same point that's got 25 views. You know, this one just happened to pop and blow up in the way that it did. And who knows why else it blew up in the way. I don't really, we talked about this last week. I don't really subscribe to the idea that you can steal views from other people in that manner. Because if you're really a Method Man head and you're really a hip hop head, you're going to watch this video. And after the verse comes in, you're going to be like, this isn't it. And you're going to know immediately, and then you're going to go and click off, and you're going to go find the original one. So I, you know, yes, there's a little bit of, you know, algorithm playing with them, playing with a little bit, and I can definitely see like him calling it hack. I can definitely see him saying that he doesn't appreciate it. I can definitely appreciate looking at it and seeing 266 million views and be like, man, I didn't get paid off of any of that.
Yeah.
But again, I think that goes down to content ID exists, and that exists, and that is in place for all artists to protect themselves in that manner. Now, what I'll also say is that I got a feeling from reading this that he was also, when he says something along the lines of unauthorized remakes of records with fake collabs, but he also says something about, let me make sure that I'm actually reading this correctly, guys. I don't want to make sure that I wasn't just too, like, when I read it, I was just like, what the you know? Yeah, here he goes. I am pretty sure you guys have seen a lot of these fake remixes, but a lot of people don't know they're fake. What is a fake remix?
I think he's saying that the artist didn't authorize the remix, but it honestly it breathes new life into whatever the artist has done. And to your point, if his situation was correct, he would be getting paid off of this. So I think this actually speaks more to Method Man's, whoever's in his corner and putting together his whatever his cuts are and things of that nature,
right?
Or his attorney or somebody that he needs to holler at to make sure that he's getting paid off of these things. Because again, I mean, we're in the information age where everything is readily available on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, online, whatever. If you don't have your situation correct, you're not going to benefit off of it monetarily, unfortunately. Even if this producer wasn't benefiting off of it, again, like you said, he'll be getting paid off of it. And if his situation, his paperwork and everything is correct, then this wouldn't even be a conversation for him, because he would actually probably influence people to do it. Go ahead and remix my stuff. I'm going to get paid off of it anyway. A lot of artists don't care.
This is the first time in the 20 plus years I've been producing where I've ever heard an artist go on the side of being anti-remix.
Yeah.
It almost feels, I mean, it's Method Man, but it almost feels like anti-hip hop to me in a way. I know that I know it's me saying it, right? I'm a white guy who makes beats. But at the same time, it's like, it's just been like the remix aspect of everything has just been so ingrained, especially into the producer economy of everything and all of them that exist. It's just kind of like, it's weird for an artist to come out for a group of people who are essentially doing free promo and remixing because they enjoy the record and putting it out to the world, and most of the time not making any money at all off of it. It's just a really weird type of angle to come from, to only to say like these fake remixes and all this stuff like this, like kind of put remixing in a general in that type of light, because 90% of the remixes, probably 95% of the remixes that are out are not of quote unquote official remixes.
Exactly.
That doesn't exist anymore. This isn't 1999.
I mean, Selection has built a whole brand behind taking other artists' stuff and remixing it essentially.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that the artists that they use have their situation correct to where regardless of what they do, they're going to eat off of it. And again, I just think he's unaware, especially when he brought up he has never received any money from streaming.
Yeah,
that makes no sense.
That was a
for
different
him.
conversation.
I know, but it's all accumulative at this point, because if he's been in the game since 93, whoever owns the rights to his music or whatever cuts he has situated, something ain't right on that end. If he's never received anything from streaming, y'all have received something for streaming.
Yeah.
And you haven't been in the game anywhere as near long as Method Man. So for him not to receive anything from streaming and to see this as being a problem, as a threat, essentially to his career musically, that's what he sees it as. He sees it as a threat. And he's thinking of, too, I believe, the sampling aspect of hip hop, to your point about saying that this is anti-hip-hop. Sampling, they have to pay for sampling.
Yeah.
So he's saying,
but not always.
Not always.
And that's
right.
not how it came.
Exactly.
That's not how it started.
Right, because people find their ways, but essentially the ones that do know that I can't get away with this sample, I got to pay for it.
For sure.
If somebody's naming something the Method Man song, I mean, obviously you're using my voice. I'm essentially being sampled, and I need to be paid for it. I see what he's saying, but again, he needs to figure out why he's not getting paid.
Call me crazy, but a lot of this is because I think he thinks this record is not good.
He said it though.
But what I'm saying is I think a lot, I'm not going to say all of it, but when I heard him say or read him say, hearing me rap over some would never rap on, I think that bothers him. Because
from a creative, artistic standpoint.
Because I've seen plenty of people, every once in a while, I see some of the homies do some remixes, and every blue moon, you'll see the artist be like, yeah, that was dope, and you don't hear nothing from them. It wasn't about no streaming. It wasn't about the video. It wasn't about none of that.
Because it's ingrained into the culture. It just is.
Exactly.
I just don't know. That's why it kind of just hit me funny. I mean, every single producer that I know that is any good at all has done remixes.
100%.
It's like, I've got literally, and granted, this is personal to me because I have literally over 100 remixes out. You can go to my Bandcamp and check them, and you can buy them there if you want, and I'm not paying the artist for them.
Wow.
Or you can listen to them on YouTube and
the scandalous.
I don't care. I don't care.
He's savage. I don't care.
Don't care. Go and buy my original work.
That was just shout out the producers.
I know it was. But like, if you listen to them, but you know what I don't do? I don't put them on streaming platforms. I don't put them out like they're official remixes. I throw them out on YouTube with my own custom videos that I just throw out there together. I put that it's my remix. I send where people can go and buy them, and then go. And if they want to, they can. If they don't, then they won't. And to me, I think that that's perfectly fine. And if you have a problem with that, I'm sorry. I'm going to still do it.
First of all, yours are done better. Second of all, they're done creatively and they're in sync, and everything makes sense when you do it.
I mean, I teach remixing, literally.
It's not. Yours are just better, man. They're just better.
I know.
And let me say this too after you finish.
But it's just, I could see an artist. I could see if you did a Method Man remix. I have a strong belief that his response to you would not be the same. Even if you had the same amount of views.
I don't know, man.
I feel like it'd be different.
Not.
To me, I feel like it'd be different.
I've
had artists that I've said, like 𝗪𝗓𝗓, I've tagged 𝗪𝗓𝗓, hit me up, he's like, yo, that's dope. Like, I've had artists hit me back and be like, yo, like, I appreciate what you're doing. You know what I mean? So that's why it's kind of weird. But
if one takes, so say one of those takes off and the artist is then like, well, I need to be paid. Or say somebody takes your voice or your song.
I'm okay with it.
He remixes it.
I'm okay with it.
At whatever stage of your career you're in.
I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it because to me, the way that I look at it is like, if you take some of my old that wasn't doing numbers anyways, and you're giving me social currency on some stuff that I don't even think about anymore, I'm okay with that in that aspect. So, I look at it differently than what Jay mentioned when he looked at the podcast. I look at my creative works differently in that manner because I feel like remixing is just a part of the culture.
Yeah, absolutely. But okay, like say if the artist, say this artist, your song is doing very well, your remix. The artist sees the money that you're generating off of this remix.
Yeah.
So then what do you do if somebody sends you a cease and desist or they want a piece of that income that you receive from that remix?
Then I think that's a good problem to have.
It is.
A very good
so
problem
like
to have.
if they come out and they be like, hey, I need some X amount of money, I'll be like, well, part of it, I wouldn't even be mad at that. I've always looked at this as one of those things like that is a good problem. You can sue me for what amount that I made, but one, I don't make enough money off any of these remixes anyways. Like I give them away for free. Like you can go to my Bandcamp and literally download all 100 of them for free. You know what I mean? So it's like you have the option to pay. They're like donations because you appreciate what I do. So number one, I'm not going to be selling anything in that capacity anyways.
That's the key right there.
I'm not going to make a vinyl of like, we're not going to do a vinyl of the Nipsey remixes that we did and put it out.
Good
and sell it,
project,
you know,
though.
but personally, I don't have a problem with producers that do that anyways, because they are crafting some new stuff out of it. Granted, I think you should probably get some estates involved to that degree if you are going to go that far. But I feel like there's like this subtle line that's balanced. And I feel like up until this point, it's never really been that big of an issue because the artist would just like not support it and it would just be fine. It would just live in their own world. And now it's like, oh, wow, it's kind of mainstream. 266 million is a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get where, and I just, like I said, I get where Method Man is coming from just because I'm like, okay, cool. If it was done something, if you had 100,000, 200,000, but when you see 266, when you see $250 million next to your name almost, and, you know, and the way these algorithms are funny, like you might be, you know, somebody might really be looking for Method Man and find this. I don't know. Even if only a tenth, even if only a tenth, you know, the people who were looking for Method Man ran into this video, then you're still talking about something that, you know, that might be a little upsetting. But
at the same time, this wouldn't even exist if this guy didn't create it. You know what I mean? So that's where the other piece comes from. Like, yes, it's building, and that's where the fair use argument comes into play a little bit, which is very interesting with YouTube as well, because this guy taking his own beat, putting 5 random verses on them and putting them all together and then putting a random ass video the way he did, I mean, obviously it'd have to be tried in court because that's the only way fair use stuff can be, you know, brought to a head. But like, it kind of follows the guidelines of what fair use is.
Now, I saw one recently where like that beat that is at the beginning of They're Not Like Us.
Yeah.
It's like they extend that beat out and put like 4 rappers on it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, this isn't an original conversation. You know, this is a song that I don't know what
stealing.
That's stealing.
Robbery.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. To me, it's different because there's nothing unique coming. There's nothing new being created, you know, from the production angle of aspect, you know. So I don't know. I don't hate Method Man's approach like this, you know, like I was just kind of being sensational at the first comment that I said, but like, and I understand maybe how his frustration would come, but I honestly still side with the creator on this.
Yeah, if I'm the creator, I'm actually using this footage to further boost my video because, I mean, Matt said he had a conversation with the guy and he said he wasn't taking it down.
Yeah.
So I'm using this as social currency, essentially.
I mean,
I don't know. To be honest,
made me click on it.
If an artist specifically reached out to me and they're like, "Hey, man, like, can you take this down?" and they gave me a reason, I may actually just accommodate him just because, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to be that guy, but like. And I have in the past, not necessarily in that way. Like I've reached out, like I've done records on mixtapes years before. Like you're talking to somebody who like made a mixtape in 2009 and I was reaching out to the original beat makers.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Which wasn't something people did back then.
Oh, that's
you know what I mean? Like, so
I remember.
I didn't reach out to anybody when I made a mixtape.
Yeah. So like, but I was rapping on them too, obviously.
Oh, okay.
But, you know what I mean? Like, and so like I reached out and I sent everybody the records and one guy was like, "No, I actually have a different idea for this." I was like, "Oh. Never put it out. It's still on my hard drive. I actually like that record. I like
it's
that
all
record.
fun and games until you run into this artist and they actually slap the shit out of you.
No, that's true too.
Doing that shit.
Look, I'm just glad, like I said, I'm glad Pasta Noose didn't want to fight me after.
Hey,
after what I did to you know, his song and mixed it with a song where he's being dissed on.
Be careful.
I think I can. Let me just close it up. I think the pro actionable items here are. I don't know if this is going to change. I don't know if this is something you can police. Outside of Content ID.
That is the police.
Exactly. So my suggestion to Meth would be, and why I said yes, he should sit down, is because not just sit down and just be quiet about it, but be proactive about going and finding the verse that you have. Go find a Content ID company that, whatever that is, give it to them and have them go and claim that for you. And then you can start collecting residual money from it. That's what you can do to be proactive about. That's the solution to it. Not to be mad at somebody who tried to do something clever that tried to get somebody to eat. You know, like he's out here trying to be a DJ and he tried to be a producer and he tried some stuff and it actually worked for him. Like, I don't know. I just have it's funny with me. So, but that's all.
I can do it.
OG voiced his opinion. Keep doing them remixes though, producers, because
I'm not stopping.
that shit is still dope.
I probably won't do a Method Man one now, but
well, if you do it right,
Can't stop, won't stop, Rockefeller Vegas, because we.
get down.
I don't think I'll do a Method Man one now. He's still an amazing artist.
He
Hey,
is.
legend, whole legend, as they say.
I
Whole
would say
legend.
it's just hard to believe that, considering most of, I think it's between Sony and Universal Music Group, nobody would have picked up on taking care of this.
I think part of it. So here's the interesting thing about it too, is that there's regular content ID claims, but then there's manual claims as well. Like I've had remixes be manually claimed and automatically claimed in the past. So if this is represented by anybody, they can just go and be like, put a claim on the video, and then it just happens. So it's just speaks to kind of Meth's reps and all that good stuff. So